You may now exit the forklift safely. Ask your supervisor where to place the forklift keys when you're done operating your forklift. Avoid parking your forklift near exits or paths of pedestrian travel. When you are planning to dismount the forklift, always try to select a level surface to park on. If the forklift is parked on an incline, you must place a chock or wedge under one of the tires to prevent it from rolling away if the parking brake fails. Even if you plan to stay within 25 feet of the forklift, you must lower the forks to the ground when you dismount to prevent a tripping hazard. You must also set the brakes. When parking a forklift, find a location that does not block an exit or doorway, first aid station, fire extinguishing equipment, other vehicles, or pedestrians in the workplace. Real-world example. You are a certified forklift operator, and you are carrying a load on your forks a few inches above the ground as you should be. You are in a warehouse environment and begin to approach a downhill incline. How should you safely maneuver the incline to keep transporting the load to its destination? A. Drive down the hill with the forks pointing down the incline. B. Drive down the hill in reverse with the forks pointed up the incline. C. Drive in an S pattern down the hill while keeping the forklift steady. D. Push the load down the incline. Remember to keep the below safe driving tips in mind. When traveling in the same direction as other forklifts, never pass them if it is in a blind spot, intersection, or other dangerous location. Always keep a clear view of the path you are traveling. Never stunt drive or engage in horseplay. Whenever you are crossing an aisle or other location where your view is obstructed, slow down and sound the horn. Never let anyone work or stand under the elevated forks, even if your forks are not carrying a load. Never allow a passenger unless the forklift was designed for it. Make eye contact with pedestrians and other forklift operators to avoid incidental contact or collision. And never run over loose objects in your path. Safe loading procedures. Recall from Module 2, operating a powered industrial truck, that you must ensure your load is stable and falls within your truck's capacity before you lift any material. Once you're ready to transport your material, perform these steps. Click each tab to learn more. 1. Stop your forklift about 1 foot away from the material. Press the brake pedal and shift gears to neutral so you can adjust the fork. Never adjust the fork unless the forklift is in neutral and the brake is on. 2. If necessary, adjust the width of the tines. Make sure the tines are level before adjusting the height. 3. Raise or lower the forks to match the height of the pallet openings. 4. Put the forklift in gear and drive forward until the fork is completely inserted in the pallet. 5. Once the forks are completely inserted into the pallet, shift back into neutral and activate the brake again. 6. With the forklift still in neutral and the brake on, lift or lower the material so it's no more than 2 to 4 inches off the ground. Keeping the load lower to the ground decreases the possibility of tipping over or losing control of your forklift or material. Seven. Tilt the mass back to decrease the chance of tipping over. While you're doing this, if the material is unstable or moves around easily, strap it down more securely to the pallet. 8. Transport the material. If it is not safe to move forward because the material obstructs your view, operate in reverse. 9. Once you're at your destination, adjust the mast so the material is in a vertical position again. If you're placing the material on the ground, you don't need to adjust the height. If you're placing it at a higher location, follow the below steps. 1. Raise the material so the forks are at least 6 inches above the location at which you wish to place the load. Drive the forklift slowly until your material is above the exact location. 2. Lower the forks until the pallet has made full contact with the surface underneath it. Always lower the forks slowly to ensure you don't break or damage the material. 3. Drive straight out from the load to remove the tines. To avoid knocking over the material, do not turn or reverse at an angle. While transporting a forklift, always remember to have the forklift in neutral with the brake on before moving your forks. Drive slowly. And ensure the material is stable and secure. Tip overs. Although tipping your forklift over may be a rare occurrence for most operators, you must always be aware of the risks of tip overs. The following are just a few causes of tip overs: driving on an incline improperly, speeding and braking suddenly, exceeding the load limit, and transporting an unstable load. While there are many ways you can tip over your forklift, the actions you take during a tip over should always be the same. When tipping over, your first instinct may be to jump off, but this will likely cause serious crush injuries or even death. Always stay in your seat. Do not attempt to jump off. While remaining in your seat, try to lean away from the direction the forklift is falling and hold onto the steering wheel to try to remain stable. Never try to use your arms and legs to brace the fall, because that is how you will sustain a crushing injury that will likely result in broken bones. Transporting material while on an incline is a common way you can tip over your forklift. This usually happens if you are trying to make a turn on an incline, shifting the center of gravity of the forklift to the side. Another way you can tip while on an incline is trying to lift or lower material. Lifting or loading material while on an incline will cause your forklift to tip forward. Even as an experienced operator, you may feel tempted to speed in order to accomplish more in a shorter time. Not only does speeding put others in danger, but it also increases the risk of tipping over your forklift. If you encounter an obstacle in your path, your braking will be more abrupt if you are speeding. As a result of your abrupt stop, your material and forklift will become unstable, causing your forklift to tip forward. It is also imperative that you are aware of the material you are transporting. If you transport something that exceeds the weight limit of your forklift, its center of gravity shifts, making the forklift unstable. You must also be aware of your material's stability. Your material may be unstable if it 1. Is not properly centered, and 2. Is moving or loosely held together. The unstable material will eventually affect your forklift, making it tip over sideways or forward. As the operator, you should always be aware of your material weight and check to make sure it is stable before transporting it. Module Review. In this module, you learned about important safety features of forklifts, as well as how to start, stop, and make safe maneuvers when operating them. You learned about the stability triangle and how keeping a load within it prevents forklifts from tipping over. You also covered how to act if your forklift begins to tip over. Some key takeaways from this module include: a forklift is the most common type of powered industrial truck that is intended to move, push, pull, lift, and carry material. Data plates contain important information about your forklift, including the maximum load capacity, hazard designation, and operating weight. Always know the lowest maximum capacity for your forklift before lifting or carrying a load. Keeping a load within the stability triangle of your forklift enables safe transportation. Your forklift's data plate will give you all the essential information you need to know to safely operate your forklift. And never attempt to jump out of a falling forklift. Forklift Operator Evaluation Checklist. Congratulations on completing the final module of the course. Before you continue to the quiz and final exam for the course, download the Forklift Operator Evaluation Checklist. Once you have completed the final exam, it's time to apply what you have learned in the course. Provide the Forklift Operator Evaluation Checklist to your supervisor or trainer so they can assess your technical proficiency.